listen, never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
We know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Get on baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
All right, there's nobody on planet Earth right now I'd be rather talking to than Kevin Plawecki. Fact. And also, maybe the first ever person, no, not maybe, definitely the first ever Purdue Hall of Fame inductee on the podcast, correct? Or soon to be inductee?
Next weekend, next Friday, the 18th. So, yeah, it'd be fun to go back.
That's awesome. I mean, that is something. Like Hall of Fames are Hall of Fames. It's tell me in the spirit, we're going to get to a lot of different things, but in the spirit of you being inducted to the Purdue Hall of Fame, tell me about your recruiting story to go to Purdue. I love a good recruiting story.
Well, it wasn't going to take much for me. I grew up a big Purdue fan. So both my mom and dad went there and my grandparents and all that. So, growing up as a kid was, going to Drew Brees football games and all that. So football, basketball, my dad probably borderline brainwashed us as kids to be Purdue fans. And, I am super happy that I was able to go there. They were the first call I got when the recruiting window opened, and really the only call I needed. But no, just super excited to be able to have gone to Purdue, where I grew up going to a lot of games as kids. And it'll be fun to go back this weekend. Next weekend, what's the day? The days are running by. Next Friday, the 18th, will be fun to get back there. So we play Oregon, so we're going to need a miracle. But it'd be fun to go back and see a lot of familiar faces and get back on campus and show the kids where mom and dad met and all that stuff. So
that's
cool.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, were you ever worried? We talked a lot about Northeast, or no, this isn't Northeast, but colder weather climate, colleges, and the challenges that come with it. You didn't care about that, though?
I didn't really care about it. Growing up in Indiana, I was so used to the cold already. So
yeah, but how was perceived? How was perceived in terms? I know that obviously players come from all over the place.
Yeah,
but was there that hey, I got to go to a Southern school, I got to go to ACC, I got to go to SEC, something like that?
I think to each his own, right? So I think whatever an individual wants, and then also what where your heart's telling you to go. So like I said, for me, it was easy. My wife grew up in San Diego, played soccer at Purdue, so I always asked her why she left San Diego. Another one of my good friends left San Diego, played baseball at Purdue. But no, I think it's all about what feels right, what's the best fit for you and your family, and where you think you can not only play ball but get a good education while you're at it. So
yeah,
a lot of factors play into it for sure.
And you saw Rich Hill go through the Big Ten, and you said, "Listen, there's this Big Ten success story."
He was at Michigan. He was at Michigan about 30 years before I was.
I know, but
I wish we would have faced off. But what a beauty! What a beauty he is.
He walks so you can run.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Congratulations on a really good year. And you're obviously the San Diego AAA, and I saw you in spring training. And that's where I want to start, Kevin, is you've been immersed in a few different organizations recently. But even talking to Rich, when Rich was with San Diego for a couple of months, he said, it was different. And he learned some things there, and which is good, right? So I didn't know what your impressions were being around that team when you were around them.
No, I'm speaking strictly on spring training for me, just because that was the only time I was really around Schulte and the big league staff, and those guys. But obviously being with the guys in AAA, they're going up and down, was with them a lot. But Schulte did a really good job of having the guys in spring training, just like all managers do, really. But he, it wasn't, say one thing, do another thing. He really did truly believe what he said. His door's always open, super easy and approachable guy. And I think when you have somebody like that, kind of the likes of Alex Cora in Boston, stuff like that, Terry Francona, and you have guys like that. I'm just speaking on my own experience with managers, but you have guys that truly mean what they say, open door policy, and they truly mean it. You get a whole team that buys in a little bit more, but they also respect your space. So, I think that locker room with San Diego is confident. They've been confident all year. They got, Jackson Merrill, who's freaking been a stud ever since he stepped out in spring training. So that's been fun to see. But I mean, you got those guys that, tend to, it just looks like they feed off each other, and they feed off each other really well, no matter the situation, no matter if they're down or whatnot. So looking at it from afar, most of the year, obviously, but having seen it in spring training, the vibes were definitely really good, and obviously a big game for them and the Padres tomorrow night.
Well, the vibes, but that's the thing, is it turning over. And when Schill was brought in there, that was the perception that, yeah, they were a talented team. The year before, Kevin, it was the shock and awe offseason. They can't lose, and it just took a turn for the worse. And there's that balance of talent and also vibes. And you've been around enough teams that knowing that it's easier said than done to just say, hey, get the good vibes in. Come on, Schulte, come on, get the good vibes in. But it seems like just being around there for a day, it seemed like that was starting to build even talking to guys who've gone up against them this year, they're like, it's a different team. It's a different team.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have a lot of guys in that lineup that are, you could arguably say every one of them superstars, and so it takes a little while to get to know each other and how you're going to mesh, and not saying they didn't know each other, but how you're, going to build on top of wins and how you're going to handle losses and stuff like that. So, obviously I think that you've seen it come full circle this year with them being able to, I don't know what, I can't pinpoint a single thing, what it might've been, but sometimes those relationships take time, and, it's really been fun to see, Manny and Tatis and Bogey, as and really take Jackson Merrill under their wing, it looks like, and Cronenworth doing his thing. And up and down the lineup, you got guys that seem to have veteran presence, but also, get the big hit when they need it, but also take the walk when they need it as well. So, those relationships take time, and it's really been cool to see from the outside.
You mentioned Merrill a couple times. I talked to him briefly, and we were talking about, he said, yeah, they wanted me to play outfield, but I didn't even play center field in spring training. And like, you were there when this kid who was drafted as a high school shortstop and only played shortstop got put in the outfield in spring training. From your perspective, could you see it right away that, hey, you know what? He has it, man. He'll figure it out.
I could, for sure. I mean, his athletic ability alone was, and you see it now, even some games. There was a ball the other night, I think, hit it's so loud in those stadiums, and I can't imagine playing outfield. You don't know. I'm sure you're reading off the bat, and also the sound too. So when it's so loud, he made it, I think it was against the Braves, where that ball to center field was hit, and he had to adjust with Soler. But he's got the athletic ability to adjust out there, just like Tatis. And I mean, they're all shortstops, right? So they all have very good athletic ability. Even when they don't get that first, step, they're able to athletically make it up, and they've been really good. And Jackson's been phenomenal since the first game on. So I'm really happy for him, and it's been fun to watch.
Well, that's the thing, is that in spring training, everyone was like, you don't have any outfielders. You have a bunch of shortstops, So, but you
got athletes.
Yes. Well, you're one of them. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about as the Padres go into this game. You've been in a decisive postseason game, basically a game 7, basically an elimination game in 2021, correct? Against the Yankees. So take me through that, and I especially am interested because you're a catcher. Because I love the idea of game planning, of strategizing, of micromanaging, and everything else. But what do you remember about going into that one game in 2021, which was a one and done game with the Yankees?
A lot, but it was something that you just embraced, and I was fortunate enough to get the start because Eovaldi was throwing, and we've been working together for majority of the year, and one of those moments where like you just don't shy away from it. It's part of it. It's part of sports. really cool. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it all the time. But I think just most importantly, trusting yourself and trusting your teammates, and just enjoy the moment, enjoy the atmosphere. Um, I'm sure that Dodgers and Padres rivalry is just as big as Yankees Red Sox rivalry in a sense. So, I mean, if there's no nerves, then something's wrong with you, for sure. But just prepare and have fun with it and enjoy the moment. And I think at the end of the day, that's all any of us could ever ask.
It was Kevin, it was the best crowd, it was the best crowd that I had ever seen. Certainly at Fenway Park, the best crowd that I ever
loud.
seen. It was loud, yeah, because it was a confluence of things, and I think that the Padres and Dodgers are sort of the same way, where you have these two fan bases that are within driving distance of each other, who are division rivals. This is it. You lose and you're done. You win, you advance. All of that was, in that case, was built into this one game, and I would imagine too. I don't know how much you have to fight off the temptation of over preparing and overthinking. I don't know if there was something that you went into that game with the Yankees, because I think that you guys roughed up Cole pretty good. And was there anything? What do you remember about actually like the strategizing of it?
It was normal. I mean, it was a normal, just like any other game, but we all knew the magnitude of it. Yeah, I mean, it's natural for certain people or whatever, certain times to put more pressure on yourself. But I think, in our situation, we had such a good mix of guys. And then when Bogarts hit that 2-run homer there early in the game, I think it allowed us all to just like relax and just like breathe, because it just felt like another game then against the Yankees. So I think just trying to make the game as normal as possible while also knowing what's at stake, but not putting too much pressure on yourself, but just enjoying the moment with those around you, and whatever happens, happens.
To go back to the Padres, I don't know if you had any experience of catching Darvish at all, or dealing with him.
Just one bullpen, so I'm not very familiar with him.
Okay, yeah. So it's an interesting matchup, with Darvish and Yamamoto, and then Flaherty, but also like you have caught when Ohtani's been at the plate, right? Correct.
I faced him. Yeah.
Oh, you faced him even better.
Yeah, I faced him. But also I've caught with Ohtani.
Yeah.
Yes, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So I guess when you're looking, so this is what I want to get through the eyes of the baseballs and boring backstop that we have here is you're catching this game. You have Darvish on the mound, and this stick with the top three guys, right? I mean, this is how the Dodgers are built. And I don't know if Freeman's going to play or not,
right.
But still, Mookie and Ohtani and Freeman, this is where this team is built. For you, how do you approach that?
I mean, you gotta respect every player in their lineup, but I think you go in there with a game plan and you do your best to execute it. You obviously want to try and limit the opportunity for those guys to beat you. But at the same time, you can't just shy away from the zone. You got to make your pitches. You got to attack. You start staying on the not on the attack, then you're going to get into some cripple counts where you're having to throw some balls over the plate, or you're walking guys, and then the other guys in the lineup are more than capable of driving them in as well. So,
but that's what Eovaldi did too. I mean, that's what you go back to Eovaldi. That's what he did, right?
Yep. No, and Nate had a very good game plan against every single opponent. Whether you're Ohtani or the number 9 hitter, it doesn't really matter, because you stay on the attack. I think you stay on the attack. You have a good game plan, make your pitches, and if there's certain spots where you don't want those guys to beat you, obviously you pitch a little more carefully. But at the same time, you go in there with a good game plan and stay on the attack. And I think that it'll be better for you 1 through 9.
Do you like watching the postseason? I know that you were in it, but do you like watching the postseason? Because for fans, it's the micromanaging of things that you're talking about. It's unlike any other year. Do you do that?
I do, yeah, almost to a fault sometimes, just like subconsciously. But it's fun now. But when my kids getting a little older too, it's a different sound coming out of the TV during playoff baseball, so they're a little bit more locked in. So it's fun to also watch it with them.
That's cool. I also want to go back to a guy who's in the postseason now, who is been incredible, which is Lindor, a former teammate of yours in Cleveland, right?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people have come to appreciate Francisco and Lindor even more. That's what happens when you get on this stage. And everybody knew he was a good player. This is why he got this contract. But when you were playing with him, what jumped out to you that made him so special?
His consistency, man. He's a special human being, and what you see is what you get out of him. I mean, granted, I was only there for 1 year, but he showed up every day, ready to play, and he made some of the most amazing plays at shortstop that I don't know how to this day he's still made, but that's why he's so great. And honestly, with where he's at now, having been with the Mets before and being in the World Series with them in 15 and seeing the success that he's had with New York, with that fan base who I, came up with, I'm really happy for the fan base, but also guys like Nimmo and guys who I played with. Nimmo was my first roommate in pro ball. So
Really?
yeah. So Alonso and all those guys, I'm used to a lot of familiar faces, but that fan base deserves it. And, you got some superstars there leading it from the front.
All right. So I mean, there was no grimace then. There was nobody. I don't think anyone had I don't think you had a Jose Iglesias running around singing the song. But, what was it like in that fan base? This is the thing, is that I think that fan base is one of these ones where if you get in this position, it becomes elite. It just becomes elite. But you were in the middle of it more than I was. What was it like going through that?
Yeah, I mean, it was my first year in the big leagues too, so I was trying to take it all in. At the same time as trying to understand, enjoy it and understand it, embrace it, and all the above. But that fan base is, I mean, they're New Yorkers, man. So you're kind of expecting for the worst and hoping for the best sometimes when it comes to the Mets. And at the same time, you get this feeling about this team this year with the Mets and kind of how it was when we were there in 15, because I was, the confidence was amazing amongst the guys in the locker room, and the belief was incredible. And, guys picking each other up, left and right. And that's what you see now with this team, it looks like, and it's been fun to watch. And, the fans, when you're winning in New York, there is nothing better, there's nothing better than winning in New York. So, I know they got to be really excited about it. And we'll see what happens, but, I'm happy for a lot of the guys there that I know and have played with.
Well, speaking of which, Nimmo, friend of the program, proudly wears his shirt. Give me a good Nimmo roommate story. Doesn't have to be salacious or anything.
I don't really know, honestly. You put me on the spot, but
was he a quiet guy? I mean, he's a friendly guy, right?
It was quiet, yeah. But we our first room, we were roommates, and I just gotten drafted. I met him in short season A ball in Brooklyn, New York, and our hotel was the Holiday Inn, and we were on the bottom floor, underneath the parking lot, if you will, and we had about this much space in between our two beds, so we had to kind of just plop on from the end of the bed up, and obviously spent a lot of nights together, and what a great human being.
It really is. I mean, you know him a lot better than I do, but my interactions with him just on the surface has been, he really does seem like a legit great human being who, when he meets you, he really cares about what you have to say, which I always think is a huge thing. And so could you see that right away? I mean, again, he must have been this young, smiley guy. It was,
Yeah, I mean, he's a young kid from Wyoming and out of high school, and I just got out of my junior year of college. So we're in a little bit different wavelength of, what our experiences have been up to that point. But every day from that day on, we roomed together from that short season A-ball team to the next year in Savannah, Georgia, when we were there together. So just a good all-around human being. Like you said, you almost feel like it can't be real, but it is. He's a genuine dude, and he genuinely cares about everybody he comes in contact with, and he's special.
Well, it must be a weird situation. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not, but if the Mets do play the Padres, I mean, it seems like, your professional baseball world was rooted in the Mets, and you went through that experience with them. Yet, I don't even know. Do you still technically what? I don't know if you're getting paychecks from the Padres or not.
Not anymore. They paid my paychecks this year. So, but the Mets also gave me a lot of paychecks as well. So
yeah. So what?
I don't know. I can't even.
So what do you? When you sit in front of that TV, if it does happen, what are you going to be feeling?
I think it'll be really cool to see both of them go at it because I think they're both really great teams that bring a lot of different, different value to the games, and I think it'll be really good TV. I mean,
No, but for
I
you,
can't even.
for
Oh,
you,
I mean, I don't know. I can't even pick like a who I'd want to win. I don't know. I think it'd be just cool to see them go at it because I got ties with the guys here this year and all that, and also have ties with obviously getting an opportunity for the Mets to drafting me and giving me my first opportunity in the big leagues and all that. So, I mean, honestly, I got too many
no,
ties. So
that's fair. The answer, Kevin, is the great game of baseball is going to be the real winner. So
exactly, yeah, it'd be great.
Before I let you go, so what do you got going on? What's happening? Besides the Hall of Fame, what are your plans? Like you said, you had a good year, AAA. So what are your plans?
I just enjoy the family. It's been a long year. My wife, we had our daughter in June, so it's hard for them to travel this summer. Her being, home with the kids and stuff. So just catching up on some family time and trying to get this body back to feeling healthy. It's been 2 weeks and we're still grinding a little bit. So we'll get there and we'll reassess and see what's next. Not really sure. So we'll see. But looking forward to just some family time between now and then.
Well, you always have a home here, and we appreciate your expertise, your entertainment, your insight, and your support. So thanks for everything, man.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.